Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast. We have another special guest from Phoenix, Arizona, Ray and AB.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
Hey, man, thank you for having us in your office.
Thank you.
By the way.
Thank you for being here.
And for even giving us a bottle of scotch, as you guys can see. Something I like. I don't drink as much as I used to. But now we were just having fun talking before the podcast. And I'm curious to get to know both of you guys more at a personal level. What happens, and I've seen this over and over and over again, not only in Phoenix but in many other cities, it gets to the point to where, yeah, you can make money, you can have multiple deals going on and all that, but what my audience gets more interested about is, who are these guys? Are they relatable, right? Do they have a story? Like, you know, where do you come from? Let's start there. Where do you guys come from?
Maybe. Start it. Go ahead. Run it.
So I come from Mexico. Originally from Mexico, born in Mexico. Till I was 7 years old. Came out here.
Now, do you say Mexico or Mexico?
I say Mexico.
Mexico.
I was 7 years old when
you came in. You were little.
I'm more here than over.
Yeah.
To be honest. I still say Mexico. It is Mexico.
What part of Mexico?
Veracruz.
Okay.
Veracruz. 7 years old. Came in as an immigrant with a family, and that's kind of how my story unfolds. Is just coming, being illegally here, eventually being able to fix my status and all that stuff, and just getting to a place where I'm at now. That's where I come from.
Okay.
But you want me to go into the story right now?
Absolutely. No, just keep going, brother. So you came from Mexico, 7 years old, right?
7 years old, yep. At that time, it's crazy. This is like 2001. When we were brought in, the lady that brought us in as her children, with my mom in there passing as a nana.
Right.
They actually, during the transition, we got pulled over because the ladies were drunk. They got drunk to get hyped up to get us over. They get pulled over. Immigration stops them. They check everybody, and they didn't have fake papers from my parents, from my mom. And so they take my mom and myself and my two other. I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother and a sister, and they had already told us, if anybody asks, she's your mom, not me. I'm the nana and all that stuff. And so my sister wakes up, she starts crying. She's like, "Mama." And so the guy comes back. He's like, "Why is he calling him mom?" And I knew a little bit of English. They told me, if they asked, just say, "Is your nana?" I was like, "Oh, it's my nana." And so I just hugged my sister and hugged her tight. And they ended up leaving with my mom and my aunt, and there's three little kids in a car, two women that were driving with this random ladies we just met that night. And like, you think about it now, it's so crazy, right? That even happened, right? But thankfully, nothing bad happened. We were able to make it through. We ended up spending the night, I believe it's Tucson or something. There the next morning, I was still scared. I didn't know mom was gone, right? And I didn't know if my dad was going to be here. My dad was already here, if he was going to be at the pickup point. But thankfully everything worked out. We got here, get down from the car, my dad's there, and thankfully I had not seen my dad for a year. He had come a year before us to scope out the area.
Right.
And then just grew up right here. I grew up in the Sunny Slope area, rough area, not the good side, the bad side of Sunny Slope.
The west side, right?
Yeah. Drugs.
You're about the third guy I interviewed that's from that area.
Yeah, so Sunny Slope area until freshman year. The neighborhood there's a lot of gangs and stuff like that. And at one point, the SWAT team came to take down people that were selling drugs in the apartment complex that was in front of our house, and they used our house as the snipers. Yeah. Got on top of our roof, underneath our cars and all that stuff. So when they got taken out, they thought we were the ones that called the SWAT team on.
Oh, wow.
So a couple of months later, we started getting drive-bys at our house. Thankfully, it never hit nobody, but that was kind of like the wake-up call for my dad. 2009, he had some money saved up. He looked into buying a house. So a couple months went by, 6 months into it. I did not know this at the time. I'm in real estate now, but his boss substituted a home for him, and he was just having my dad make the payments to him. He was making the payments under his name. That's how my dad was able to get a house in 2009. I went through high school. I always liked engineering, so I stayed in engineering. I was a swimmer during high school as well. Finished high school, was working for an Arabic guy selling Oriental rugs, so that's how I got my experience in selling, negotiating. He showed me how to negotiate getting a car and going to different dealers, getting a dealer to give you a price and taking that to another dealer. And when he was actually getting my dad's house, he also showed us how to negotiate mortgages. So he would get a statement and he would take it to another bank and like, "Can you do better?" They would lower the interest and take it to someone else. He would do it like until everybody said enough, but he would drop the pricing. Right. The Arab guy, I learned negotiations from him. In a way, he's really one of the guys that guided me into business alongside my dad. My dad worked for him, but whenever there's like convention places, because he was in the Oriental rug world, he would take us to Las Vegas, where all that stuff came out, and he would show us how he would negotiate with wholesalers to stock his stores. And also, we were little kids, like 12, 13-year-olds were just walking around with him, and when he would sit down and negotiate, he would have us sit like in the corner just listening to what he was talking to his people about. So I got introduced into the business world that way. My dad was always the type of guy that said, "I'm not gonna buy you shit. If you want to get something, you gotta at least get. If it's something big, like we used to like playing video games, like game consoles. He would always say, get half of it. Once you got half of it, I'll put the other half. But if you want video games, you gotta buy them yourself." So he would always make us work. The minute we turned 13, 12, we would start going to work with him on the weekends, going to school and all that stuff. So he really showed us the value of, just owning things. And
what do you do for a living?
So my dad used to sell the Oriental rugs. He had broken English, but he was so personable and his accent was so catchy that people actually loved buying stuff from him.
Oh, wow.
Because of the way he sold the Oriental rugs. He always shared the story of the rugs, where they were made, how they're made, how they get imported here, what differentiates one Oriental handmade rug from another one, and all that type of stuff. So he was a salesman for him. He was also his inventory manager, so his warehouse manager. He handled all the stuff that was coming in. He made sure everything was in inventory and all that stuff. And he also used to handle the deliveries. And so when it was weekends, it was delivery days, I used to go with my dad and deliver these rugs at multi-million-dollar homes.
Right.
Got introduced to people that are wealthy, and that's actually how I made my money, because most people would give us tips. Oh, these are little kids working with you, with dad and all that stuff. We would go and deliver, move the furniture, install the rug, put the furniture back on top of the handmade rug and stuff like that. And so that's how I got into serving other people and understood what customer service was, especially talking to wealthy people. Finished high school. As I was getting ready to finish high school, I had my girlfriend at the time. She helped me. I didn't know what I didn't know. I did not have a social. So when I was getting ready to go to college, it was a hard time for me to get. This is when Arpaio was at its peak, deporting a lot of people and all that stuff. And my girlfriend at the time, she had out of, I don't know if she was a joke or something, but I guess it turned to reality. She was joking. She was like, I don't want you to get deported. If there is ever in the future we have a future together and there's ever kids, I don't want us to be worrying about
not being around
or anything like that. Why don't we look into me helping you fix papers? I've heard if you get married, you could. I was like, whoa, hold up! I'm already coming out of high school. I'm not looking to tie them down, nothing like that. She was like, no, I'm looking to help you. And if he's like, I'm willing to do it for the marriage and just for the papers. We go through finish high school and we go through college. And after college, if we still want to be together, we can be together. We can do it after college as well. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just saying I want to have that option for you.
She had a game plan.
And
she was locking him up.
Long story short, we started talking to lawyers because we were interested in how that would work. The whole fact that I came here as a kid, so the problem was if I stay here over 18, I became an adult. And as an adult, I was making an adult decision to stay here illegally. Because I was brought here, I could fight the case. If I won the case of her asking me for residency, if I lost, there's a penalty for 10 years. So I would have to go back to Mexico for 10 years, serve that penalty, and then be able to come back at the time.
Right.
The lawyer said this, because we were planning on doing it until after we were done with our university, right? And the lawyer said this: before you turn 18, if you leave to Mexico, then you would never accumulate any adult points of being here illegally. Therefore, you're not held liable for what happened. So you can go to Mexico and then have her request you 1 or 2 years. So go to college in Mexico if you want. Finish college over there. What she does is and starts the process, and then come back in legally. This is a 17-year-old. You know, I talked to my parents. My parents were like, you know what? We don't want to have any decision in this. It's your decision. We're not going to say yes. We're not going to say no. Just think about what you're doing, right? We talked to different lawyers, and everybody, it was like 50-50. Some of them were like, you're going to stay here. We're going to fight the case. But there was always that risk. Like, if we lose the case, you got to go back for 10 years. Everybody was like, and the other ones were like, no, you got to leave before you turn 18. And my birthday's in August. So I graduated at 17, not at 18, like a lot of my other friends would. And I ended up making the decision. I said, you know what, okay, I'm going to leave. So finished my graduation. We got married through civil court and then left, like literally a month before my birthday. Ended up spending 2 years in Mexico. Be living with my grandparents and learning what it's like to live in a third world country. I was an English teacher over there because I shut up and I spoke English. I used to win 500 pesos a week. Okay. That's equivalent to like $50 a week. Barely enough for my bus, for my little, tortas for lunch, and after I saved up for a couple months, extra clothes and stuff like that. But when I was over there, I told my dad, hey, don't send any money out here. Send to my grandparents, like you always send money to them. I want to see what it's like to kind of sustain myself.
Make it on your own.
Yeah, let me see. He's like, okay.
So where do you go in Mexico? Back to Veracruz? Or?
Back to Veracruz, where in my hometown. So it's not right at the port. It's a hometown called Orizaba, Veracruz. It's where they call it La Cuna del Café, because that's where coffee supposedly was. For one of the first places that it started being produced from. So I went back there, lived there for 2 years, got to witness. That whole trip for me, it humbled me a lot. Growing up over here, you grow up with a lot of luxury. Spoiled. You grow up spoiled. My dad used to tell us, man, you're asking for shoes on a monthly basis. Over there, you would be lucky enough to have a pair of shoes every 2 to 3 years. And that's if it's a hand-me-down. He's like, there's kids that are walking around over there barefoot because they don't have shoes. It's like, there's kids that are selling chiclets over there, right? And as a little kid, you're like, Dad, you're tripping, right? You don't truly imagine it. And when I was over there, I got to witness. I got to witness kids using water bottles, flattening out with a little string as sandals. I got to witness kids selling chiclets, and I get goosebumps every time I say it, because I got to witness it. And I got to witness the pain that comes from people that like do that, right?
I was just in Mexico for 3 weeks, and I took my kids, right? And my 6-year-old is asking me why those kids are selling stuff. Kids his age. Right? And I said, well, when we get back to the hotel, I'll sit down with you and talk to you about it. And I had to explain, because he was like, that kid is just like me. But why is he selling chiclets out here, and they're selling whatever, cigarettes, chiclets, And so I told him, look, they're not as fortunate as you are, and unfortunately, they have to go to work so they can support their families. And in a lot of cases, those kids are also run down by other people. So you have both sides, But on your case, you made a conscious decision on, you know what, I'm just going to go tough it out. And at 17, you're already almost a man, an adult. So you can say that, you've lived a little bit already, and you're not a 6 or 7-year-old kid on the streets, like we see it. It's there. It's there. It happens a lot. I grew up in Venezuela. It's the same thing. It's no different. It's just that we have different accents. That's it. From Mexico all the way down to Argentina. It's all the same. Food is a little different, and then you have Colombian women and Colombian Venezuelan and Brazilians. They're a little hotter, but other than that, it's the same problems. So you were there for 2 years. 2 years. Actually, it ended up cutting in half. It ended up being 1 year. We thought the process was going to take 2 years. It ended up being a year. During that time, one of the biggest things that truly put a fire under me was I got to witness. So I hadn't seen my grandma. I left when I was 7. I came back at 18. And thankfully, I was able to see all 4 of them still alive and live that whole year with them. And I got to witness my grandma's pain and fear of her. We would be randomly eating, and she would randomly start crying. She's like, you remind me so much of your dad. I'm so scared that I'm gonna die
and not see him again since he's been gone for now going on 16 years, long time. That's my biggest fear. And she would like cry, and that would hit me. I was like, Grandma, don't worry. When I come back, this is changing the trajectory. Hopefully, I can do something to bring you guys out there, right? If you can't come, and I came back, and a year later, right after I come back, we get the notice that she was in the deathbed. I end up going back, and she held on for a whole week in her deathbed. I know what she was holding on for. She has 3 kids that came over here, and in her deathbed, all the other, she had 7 kids. All the other ones came out here, came out to her hometown, said their goodbyes. My dad and his family, the other 2 siblings he's got over here, said their goodbyes through video. I ended up telling my grandma, kind of when she took her last breath, I kind of hugged her. I was like, hey, Grandma, they're not going to come. You know, if you need to rest. And she looked at me, and she shed a tear, and she took her last breath and passed away right there.
Wow. That's...
And for me, that was hard, man. That was really hard.
I think for anybody, because, right? You know, you realize now...
The sacrifices that are made by different generations, right? From my grandma's side, then my dad's side as well. Because as a son, you do have to miss your parents, right?
He wants to be there with her too,
right? And actually, towards the end, they were like, you know what, Grandma's holding on. If she wants us, tell her we're gonna just go. And we're like, Dad, you gotta be realistic. You're a 40-plus-year-old man. You come out here and try to make it back. You're not gonna go back. You gotta choose your family, right? You're gonna come back, say bye to Grandma, but your kids and your wife are back over there. You're gonna be able to make it.
Right? That's tough. You know, that's hard for him, and eventually, and he needs to build his other family, right? The one that's gonna last. For other generations.
That was the purpose of them coming over in the first place.
So that lit a fire under me. I was. When I came back, I had made the decision, like, whatever I gotta make all the sacrifices be worth everything that all these people have put on to us, literally. They're betting on us being here and be able to change it.
So what year is this when you come back here?
I come back in 2012.
To the U.S.
Yes.
So you were in there in between 10 and 12.
11 all the way to 12.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what are you doing between 2012 and your first? When did you get into real estate? What year?
This year. This year. This last year.
Okay, so you just started.
Yes, in May of this last year.
May. So what do you do all this time?
So from 2012 to 2013. I actually, when I came back, I said, you know what, I got to make things right. You know, the girl took care of me. She's really looking out. I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna marry her. You know, and I talked to her dad. We had agreed that the marriage that we had done by civil was not gonna be real until I actually got married to church, because they're very Catholic. And they said yes. So even when I came back, we still had like boyfriend-girlfriend treatment. She was at her house. I was at my house. We had agreed that it wasn't gonna count to that. So I was like, you know what, I'll make it right. I get married, and when I get married, my father-in-law gets a restaurant, a French restaurant he owns in Old Town Cave Creek out here in Arizona. His story is crazy how he gets it, but long story short, he gets it. I'm working for Best Buy at the time. I go in, and he asked for help.
You were on the Geek Squad?
I was in the Geek Squad.
All right. Shout out to the Geek Squad, guys.
Yes. So I was going to school for your business. I go and I start working with him, help him grow, establish that business as well. We get a website for him. I did not know this at the time, but I was doing integrator stuff that I did not know I was an integrator. But I built a website for him. We started going to resorts and talking to the concierge at this time, saying, hey, how can you recommend us? And
resorts here in Phoenix?
In Arizona. Yeah. And everybody started telling us, are you on Open Table? No, but we'll look into it. Every resort that we visit here in town, everybody was asking if we were on Open Table. So they can send their customers just through Open Table without having to call us. We put the business on Open Table, and it's like we turn on the machine, and people started coming in. And so I did that for 2 years. Once it started grinding hard, I actually got an opportunity as an intern for engineering. I was doing engineering in school. I told my father, hey, I think my work here is done. Your business is cranking. Just continue running it, man. I'm going to go into engineering now. I got an opportunity. I leave that, and I go into engineering from 2013 all the way to 2017. And during that year, in 2015, the guy that was subtoing the property to my dad passes away. And he had a life insurance because he's a multimillionaire that automatically pay all debts for all the properties. And in order for it to, I understand it, go to probate, all the debt had to be cleared. So his sons get in touch with my dad, and they say, hey, you either gotta sell the house or you gotta do something, but the house cannot be under my dad's name for it to be for his will to be read.
The loan.
So they're like, if you have kids, sell it to your kids. We'll give you your all your equity that you paid up to this year. And in 2015, we ended up doing that. My brother and me buy that house. My dad gets a big chunk of money. And I was doing engineering already. My dad said, hey, I got some money. Why don't we start a business, guys? And I was like, you know what? I'm going through school. I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to have a job, right? I'm going to be able to retire at one point. Dad, you probably will not be able to. Let's start a business. We want to create a business so that at one point that is your retirement plan.
Right.
And 2015, we established, like December of 2015, we established an LLC for a moving company. We buy a box truck. And every time, my dad's always taught us, whenever you're gonna do something, do it right, and do it professionally. Don't do it half-assed. Right? So we buy a truck, we get it wrapped, we get it professionally done. We were going to business school, so we understood, making logos and not naming it after yourself. You gotta have an exit plan if you want to sell it, build a brand and all that stuff. So we built it. I built a website for it. And at the time, I was doing assembly lines for a lot of warehouses here in town. I was doing sometimes for Amazon, PetSmart, Walmart, the engineering company that I worked for. We would go in and look at whatever production line they needed to do, and we would come in and install the machines. We were actually doing a project for Amazon. And with Amazon, I was like a 3-month project. I get talking to these engineers, and I was talking to them like, hey, we just started a business. I got a truck, and I was playing around. I was like, how can we deliver for you? And they were like, you know what? We actually have a program with Alexa where you can say, hey, Alexa, I'm looking for landscapers. I'm looking for pool cleaners. I'm looking for moving companies. And if you're in our servers, we will send you out. You do the job. You have to be background checked, but you prove that you did the job. You take a picture. You have the customer sign, and you leave. Alexa, Amazon charges the customer's card, and then they turn around. They pay you. Amazon gets a chunk of the money. I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Let me jump in it. So we jump into it, and from 2016 all the way to 2017, the business just blows up. They were keeping us so busy that we went from 1 truck to 4 trucks. In 2017, they shut down the program. And in 2017, I was scheduled to graduate as an engineer as well. So I finished my internship. I graduate. I started working for another engineering company. And right as I graduate in May of 2017, in July, I graduated and I put in my 30 days notice with the engineering company because I was about to leave in July to go full time with the family business. So 2017, I go full time with them. We build a system. We systemize that whole business, cloud-based for logistics. Because Amazon cut us out, we start partnering with all the local furniture mom and pop shop stores to deliver their stuff same day or next day.
Right.
So everything was cloud-based. The furniture stores, if they sold something, they would go in there and they could select same day delivery, next day delivery, and our crews would show up like within 30 minutes, within 15 minutes sometimes. Because what we would do is if they were en route to a job, or they were finishing a job in Scottsdale, I would just go into their computer or their service, their tablet that I programmed.
Right.
I would go in, change the service, so when they were done, they would get in the truck from that delivery, and they would say, oh, the next one, it's a pickup right here at this store. And they would pull up to the store. And I would reroute the other job to another crew that was doing something else. And so our logistics was on point. And then we started picking up. A whole bunch of furniture stores started picking us up.
Wow.
We ended up landing Restoration Hardware in our house. And this is how I get introduced to the real estate game. Once we landed those high-end furniture stores, we started working with interior designers. And these interior designers were doing flips in Paradise Valley, DC Ranch, Silver Leaf, all these other places where investors had enough money to hire them. They were running the whole flips, the whole remodels, the contractors, and we were the ones coming in and staging the home at the end, all that stuff. We were helping them project manage a lot of these flips. And in my head, I was like, damn, whoever is in charge of all this has enough to pay everybody, including us, right? And they're flipping this house. Most of them were actually selling the homes already furnished with Restoration Hardware furniture. And I was like, damn, there's money to be made right here in the real estate game. And a lot of people that we were delivering furniture to, I would always ask them, how'd you build your wealth? About 90% of the people that I talked to, everybody said real estate. So it started being in my head.
In your radar.
My radar. by 2019, we had a total of 8 trucks. We had a 20,000 square foot warehouse right here in Arizona. We have had over 25 employees working for us. The business started cranking 1.2, 1.5 per year in revenue. We started being more. So it's funny because I say it's a moving company, but we do a lot more logistics and warehousing stuff than moving. Like moving is just like the cherry on top that we do once in a while. Our day-to-day operations is more deliveries and white glove designer services. We have a team that installs nothing but high-end art. They do it at resorts, they do it at hospitals, they do it everywhere you see art professionally installed. Our teams are typically the ones that are installing as well. And 2020 hits, pandemic hits, and I was like, you know what? Being a business owner, we're at a point where everything is working good.
Automated.
It's automated. Let's put more people in place. I was like, with the pandemic and the economy going down, I was like, you know what? This looks like a lot like 2008, 2009. I think shit's about to hit the fan. I want to make sure I am knowledgeable in real estate. So I started looking into real estate. I got actually sick with COVID pretty badly, and when the first wave came around, so I spent like 3 months at home, quarantine, running the business virtually, studying about real estate.
I got sick too in 2019, actually, December, when nobody knew about COVID, and I was wondering what the hell that was.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
COVID.
It was COVID. So, and I got that first COVID too. That was brutal.
It was bad. So,
and my whole family got it too.
Yeah.
So we just didn't know it was COVID.
Yeah. When I got it, I was hospitalized for 3 weeks. I got pneumonia. My lung shrunk. I really thought that was not going to make it.
You weren't going to make it.
I wrote my goodbye letters to my kids and everything.
Wow.
It was bad. But thankfully I came out of it. That actually, for me, was like a turning point, I would say, because it got me closer to God. It really started like opening my spirit. Got started doing real estate, and I started studying real estate. Right. This is the end of 2020, going into 2021. And at the end of 2020, going to 2021, I tell the family, hey, I'm seeing an opportunity in real estate. Do you guys want to do it? We have the business already going. We can hire more people. We can start. I kind of understood it. We can get some VAs, have some cold calling, do all this stuff. And everybody was like, you know what? If we already have a working business, why would you want to go do something else? I was like, well, the whole plan was to build businesses, not just one.
Just one.
Let's build more. And they were like, you know what? I don't see the vision. We got way too much stuff on our plate for running this business. If that's something you want to do, you're welcome to do it. And this is where I personally started learning. This last year has been very transformational for me. I started learning about what it's like to not have the right business partners. My dad and my brother are great people. My brother has a good mindset. My dad, because he's so traditional, right? It was hard. In 2019, the business was producing enough where we told him, hey, Dad, the whole purpose we started the business for you to retire, you can retire. And we know what Dad said. Dad's like, you guys are trying to kick me out of the business. You guys are trying to, I'm not trying to leave. All this and all that. You guys are just trying to get me out of the way so you guys can run it. And we're like, no, it's at a point where you can finally retire. Go ahead and retire. And he was like, no. And from there, we actually started crashing heads, where we made the business with 3 equal parts, my brother, my dad, and myself, so that when decisions needed to be made, if 2 of us made a decision, that's what went, right? Yeah. So it was 3 people. And a lot of decisions started being made where my brother and I had to make the decision, but what started happening is Dad would pull the dad card, and he would say, no, that's not how it's gonna go. I'm like, well, we already made a decision. Like, no, I'm Dad. I'm like, well, hold up.
I'm right, you guys are not.
Business is business. Family is something else. And when we started telling him this, like, he would like, no, you guys are trying to disrespect me. I'm like, no, man, this is outside of business is family, and we love you as a dad. But inside of business, we're just partners and we're equal. It's like, no, you guys will never be equal from me. It's that whole like that culture thing.
Well, your father,
I understand it, right?
What I say.
And so long story. In 2020, towards the end, there was a couple like rough scuffs that we've had, like discussions that were like, man, we can't run a business with everybody always being negative, right? So in 2010, I was, you know what? I'm gonna leave the business. I'm really leaving. If you guys want to pay me something, pay me something. If you guys want to pay me nothing, don't worry about it. I don't want to leave with any problems with nobody. I'm leaving. They didn't take me seriously. 2 months later, I said, this is my last month. You guys got 30 days. Whoever you're going to train to take over my position, I'm leaving. They ended up bringing somebody over. My sister, my mom came in. I showed them everything that I did. And in May of last year, I leave the business. I literally leave the business. I was already doing driving for dollars and all that stuff. I go to the All-In event in May. And freedom. And that event changed it for me. It changed it because I was questioning everything that I was doing. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I did the right move by leaving that family business. I don't know if this is truly where I want to be, right? But that event for me, everybody kept talking and thanking God and all that stuff. Yeah. And for me, that was like, hey, you're looking for a sign? This is the sign. And I leave that event. I actually meet one of our other business partners named Taif at this event, and I tell him, hey man, start taking me to the events that you know. I was driving $4 every day from 8 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, knocking on doors, talking to people. Everything that I saw on YouTube, I was implementing right away. Through knocking through the doors, I actually at one point stumbled upon Pace and Jamil doing their video, their show, and I was like, I actually get down and talk to them and all that stuff, and I continue doing my thing. In July of this last year, I go to an event that he invites me to, Taif. And at this event, I meet Ray. Ray was speaking at this event. I believe it was first time speaking. And get a chance to talk to him after he spoke. We started talking, like, hey, I'm driving $4. He's like, I'm trying to put a team together. I was like, well, let's do it, man. So on the weekend, he calls me over. I come out here. We go out. We do some door knocking. And when I came out here, I was like, hey, man, I think you guys need some help in your business. I kind of saw there was a little bit of disorder, not fully organized. I was like, man, I'm looking to work for you guys. He gives me an opportunity. At the time, I personally did not care what they were going to pay me. I was just trying to come in and bring a bunch of value, as much value as I could.
Learn and
learn, right? I'm a strong believer of get in the bus and then find your seat later, right? So I made that opportunity happen. I started working for him. Started doing acquisitions. I sucked at acquisitions. But when I was doing acquisitions, I started looking at the systems. And I was like, damn, the systems are not following these KPIs that I've heard of. I started building the KPIs. I started tracking all this stuff. I'm like, you guys don't have any SOPs, all that stuff everybody talks about. You guys don't have a conveyor belt where you guys got this bottleneck effect right here and all this stuff. And they're like, bro, what the fuck you learned this? And I was like, well, I did have another business before, and I kind of understand how everything should be.
Business is business, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're touching up on that point. When I train somebody on how to build a VTO, for instance, it's real estate related.
Yes.
But you use that tool for everything.
Yes. So this last year, this is what I learned. I'm a very observant person. One, I learned that I'm an integrator, but through a book that I kept everybody hearing talking about, I started reading the books that everybody was talking about. The One Thing, Rocket Fuel.
The One Thing is good.
Yes, but I read Rocket Fuel, and it talks about integrators and visionaries, right? And I started looking around, and I'm like, you know what? Everybody has one. Sal and Carlos Reyes, boom, right there. Clever Investor, he's got his visionary integrator. Yep. Steve Trang, he's got a visionary integrator. And I'm like, damn, this is a crazy ass formula that everybody, consciously or unconsciously, has it. Every single one, right? And most businesses that are successful are doing that. And then I actually get about a month ago where the tenants, Grant Cardone comes in town. I go to his grand opening, and I get to witness like how systemized and how professional he has it. But his whole tenants brand is about bringing integrators into businesses and helping them scale. And so I look at it and I'm like, damn, this is actually it's a crazy formula. And I'm like, and I started reflecting back. I'm like, that's why when I was working with my father-in-law, we got it cranking. That's why when I was doing engineering, I could look at the systems and systemize the stuff, put it into like conveyor belt in this case, right? That's why our business blew up with the family business, because my dad and my brother were visionaries. I was the integrator in that business. I was like, oh, it actually is the perfect formula for any business in town. As long as you got good mindset, that's another thing that sometimes people miss, is the mindset part. And this year, that's what Ray really helped me out with, is the mindset part. Understanding mindset, understanding yourself, understanding who's in control, right? Is it you or is it your subconscious? A lot of the times we let our egos grow way too much, and our egos turn us into people that we're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And something else is in control versus ourselves.
So here's the weird thing is when he came in, right, the same day we had 2 deals. We were so cranking, right? We're money generating activities. That's it.
Right.
And when he came in, there's 2 deals that came in. One was a Lake Havasu deal. Okay, we were having this a lot. But me and my business partner were both visionaries, right? So
it doesn't work.
It didn't work, but it did work because we were making money, good money.
Yeah, but eventually it's not sustainable.
Well, and that's why they say most businesses last 2 to 3 years, right? Because typically 2 visionaries will get together, they'll run a business, they'll cranky, they'll run, and then 2-3 years into it, some legal stuff happens, or they go their separate ways, or some legal stuff happens. You're like, hey, did you take care of the paperwork? No. Did you take care of the paperwork? No. Oh shit, we're in deep shit now. And that's typically what.
Yeah, visionaries like each other because we think alike.
Yes.
Right. But can we really work together? So unless we have an integrator, because guess what? You want to be a visionary all day long.
Yes.
You don't necessarily want to go be an integrator. Now, I've been an integrator before by necessity. So I don't mind switching up roles every now and then. Like, hold on a second. All my vision is there already. I don't need to go be a visionary every day. What I need to do right now is get in the trenches and go be either a dispo guy or an acquisitions guy or be the integrator. And that's sustainable as long as everybody fits in a role and everybody knows what role they're fitting in. That's very important. So I'm glad you're bringing up that point.
Yes.
That you go back and you look in all the different jobs that you had and you were integrating, and then these businesses continue to run.
Yes.
Something I would have done if I were you, I would have negotiated royalties out of it.
Yep. True.
Because
I was focusing on learning businesses. Learning. I was thankful that my father gave me an opportunity to help him with this business, and I saw it as that, like, hey, this gave me a chance to learn business. I'll learn what I can, right? But you
have a great story, by the way. I love your story because it is one that
you're not getting royalties.
Yeah, that's the visionary speaking.
Now this time though,
at least we got that out of the way already. What about you, Ray? Tell me about you, man. Like what?
Let me.
You've been rich all your life, right?
No. let me throw this in there. Is when he came in, right? We had 2 deals that came in. Okay, I had a speaking event that night. And so I made an offer on this Lake Havasu property right on the fucking beach, right? It was like $1.2 million on the market. And I said, I'm just gonna make an offer. I made an offer of $400,000. Okay. They called us the night that we had an event from the agent and said, hey, they want to take your deal. They want to take your offer. I said, cool. I'll sign it, send it over, put it in my email. Okay. We went to the event, right? We all know about it. We all heard about it. Right? Went to the event, forgot. Came back. 2 days later, somebody made him an offer of 1.5 cash. No one signed the contract. And we lost. We got 2 in the same. When he came in, he was like, who signed it? I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, let's move on to the next deal.
Something like that happened to me last week. It could have been a $175,000 assignment. And it's not that we forgot. We didn't forget. My acquisitions guy calls up my dispo guy. He said, hey man, I need help with this deal. And they go through numbers, and Caesar right away comes to my office. Dude, you gotta look at this. And I've heard this before. I don't know how many times. What you got? This looks very good. He gives me the address. I get on it. They're like, we really want to think what we really want to know what you think the ARV is on this thing. Give me the address, and it takes me 2 seconds. Yeah. I go in there. I'm looking at it. I was like, okay. Hey man, this thing is $550 to $550. This is in Oregon, in Albany, Oregon. So I go and I start working the reverse engineering formula, the 70% formula, right? 70% minus $100,000 on rehab because this is an older house. Bam, bam, bam. Man, I can sell this thing for $320. How much do they want? And he's like, you're not gonna believe this. How much do they want? $150. What? Lock that shit up right now.
Why didn't even come to you? I would have been mad.
Dude,
What you even come
I was
to me?
like, what the hell are you guys doing? Lock it up, man. What are you waiting on now? Keep in mind, the acquisitions is a new guy.
Right.
So he doesn't even know what the hell he's dealing with, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, man, get on a Zoom call right now. Help him prepare the contract. This is on a Saturday, by the way. I was in the office that Saturday by pure coincidence. I wasn't supposed to be there. And we put the contract together. The lady agreed to do the $150. That's what she asked. It wasn't even. We didn't even make an offer. They said we want 150. I'm like, send it. Send the contract. Monday comes around. I say, hey, they haven't signed this contract. What's going on? Follow up. Let's get on this thing. If you need me to get on the phone, let me know.
Why didn't you?
Was that?
Why didn't you? Because I would have jumped on the fucking phone.
Well, the reason why is because the guy already had good rapport with her.
Okay.
So I didn't want to break that. And I could have maybe came across a different, a way or something. So Angel kind of like hits me back up. He said, Caesar hits me back up. It's like, dude, the lady blocked him on the phone.
Got another offer?
No. It wasn't even an offer. They went and called a realtor friend. Oh. And the realtor got on the way. Wow. And now they're listing the property on the MLS for $220. Don't get me wrong, the $220 is still.
Oh man,
it's still a sweet deal,
Yeah.
But I'm like, they're like, why don't we do it? I said, guys, we're fucked because now that the realtor got on the way, we up our offer. We told them, hey, look, we'll pay you $220. The $220 you're gonna list it for, we'll pay it. And we'll even pay the agent. But they I don't know what the agent said. The agent might have said, these guys are scammers, these guys are this, these guys are that. So, and unfortunately, there were 3 sisters. So I'm pretty sure one of the sisters, it's in kahunas with the freaking agent. Mm-hmm. The one that we were talking to, she blocked us now because who knows what the other. So it got all messy. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what we go back to them with,
you're done.
It's lost.
Yeah.
So now my acquisitions guy was heartbroken.
That's his first one, right?
His first deal.
Okay, yeah.
And I have a conversation with him. I was like, man, you know what, bro? I'm proud of you. Don't worry about it. Let's go find the next one. After that one, he's locked up 10.
Good leadership.
Right? 10. Because he already thought about the money that he was going to make. Who knows? And I was like, bro, don't worry about it. It happens all the time. It kind of sucks that it happened on this deal. That was your first one. And this is a great deal, by the way, that we were going to make some pretty damn good money. But it is what it is, man. And they got in between it. And you got to learn how to separate yourself from those situations because those things that happen to you hold you back. If you give it energy and attention. To me, I cut it off and I said, by the way, this is not a lost deal. We need to follow up with them in 3 or 4 weeks. Yep. Maybe next week, Let's follow up. Let's see what's going on. Let's call them from a different number. Let's call them with a different LLC. That way we look different, which I got like 17 LLCs. So, I can be today, we buy same as cash. Tomorrow I am True Home Buyer Solutions, and I might just put a girl to call. That way we completely sound different. But yeah, it happens, and just like it happened to you guys on that big deal, that looked like that was going to be a freaking slam dunk.
It was 2 in one day.
Wow.
We were cranking. We were doing too much cranking. So there was too much stuff kind of slipping through the cracks.
Slips through the cracks.
Yeah, because we were still high over 6 figures. So like to us, that was like, okay, we lost it. Keep going, because we didn't have time to.
Now, are you guys doing nationwide or local?
Local and not nationwide, but a couple different states.
Okay. All right, but let's get into your story now, man. Where do you come from?
So I was born in California, Riverside.
All right.
I moved to the Bay Area.
How long were you in Riverside for? Baby?
Yeah,
okay.
3. And then I moved to the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, Vallejo. From there, I moved to Denver, Colorado, Texas.
How old were you? How old were you when you moved from San Francisco to Denver?
7.
7. So okay.
Which was a rough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was it a rough time?
We moved in an all-white neighborhood.
Okay.
And
that can be a rough time for a black family.
Oh yeah. So that was the first time I was introduced to racism. Okay. And everybody was kind of like nigger, spick, or not spick, but cotton swab. Like as a little kid, I'm learning this. Like wow, even my friends
in Denver.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Denver, Colorado. Yeah.
Wow.
So I had a rough time from there. Didn't work out with our family, so we moved to Texas, Houston. There for 1 year.
What part of Houston? You don't remember?
Don't remember. Too young.
Yeah.
From Houston, we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Why you guys move so much?
Just the places we moved were different. So my dad's black, all right. My mom is Irish and Dominican, all right. So we would move in like different areas. My mom was like on the Hispanic side. The rest of us were like black, so we would get beat up, bullied.
Right.
All right. For both sides. My dad was ex NFL player.
Okay.
So he would move like predominantly like white neighborhoods.
Right.
So we would get the same treatment everywhere we went. So we go from one state to the next state to the next state, and we end up in Arizona.
Now, did he have money from the NFL? Or?
Oh, hell no.
No.
Right. Dad was a hustler. So my dad did a little bit of real estate. He was actually an acquisition guy for a few people.
Today?
He's passed, but yes, there's
he's passed, okay.
There's people here in Arizona he was acquisitions
right, okay.
And also doing creative financing too.
Right,
for people. No, I didn't have money. He was a hustler, a street hustler. Also was a drug addict, hugely.
Right.
Cocaine and crack.
Right. Yeah, he got into that 80s epidemic.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
Rolling star.
80s epidemic,
Yeah.
that's what it was. The epidemic that we have today is different.
The opioids, huh?
Yeah, and it's also, you got all this meth and this fentanyls and all these fucking crazy things that are out there, which I think they're worse than cocaine or crack is real bad. But cocaine, I mean, look at Corey. Like, he did coke for I don't know how long, but he's still there. You know, he's still standing, and he's in good shape actually. And he's very open about that stuff now that he's clean. But
highly, probably too much.
What's that?
Corey.
Yeah.
Highly.
Yeah. So that's how you ended up in Phoenix. And how old were you when you came here?
11 or 12.
Okay.
Got here 11 or 12. We lived south side. Then we moved from south side to the west side.
Right.
Lower Buckeye area. And huge gang area.
Right.
So from there, Dad was in and out of prison, back and forth, running scams, feds, doing bank robberies, doing a lot of stuff. I didn't really have a role model. So my role model was the streets. Mom was pretty much working. All my brothers were older. They're living their lives as adults.
Right.
I ended up getting into gangs. Started gang banging heavily at 12. And from there, my life kind of went downhill. I got super heavy into gangs, build rivalries. I'm fighting with this neighborhood, that neighborhood, and I get more frustrated because I'm looking for a father figure. And I'm building up this hate for everybody who doesn't like me for whatever reason, for me being bullied,
right.
me being judged, you know. So now I got like a gang, I got like a family, right? We're the toughest on the block, and that was my motto for a long time. So I get into a lot of fights every day. I didn't make it past 8th grade.
Right.
Straight expelled out of every school. Never went to high school.
Yeah, they didn't want you around.
Oh, nobody wanted me around. No, I was trouble.
Yeah.
So got expelled. Homeschool, that didn't really work. So I was just on the streets, you know, selling drugs, gang banging, fighting, you name it. That's what I was pretty much doing. 14.
Was it one of the biggest gangs, like the bigger gangs, like like the Bloods, the Crips, whatever?
Crips.
You were Crips?
Hell yeah.
Crips are blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloods is red. Yeah. And then you got Latin Kings, and you got and then you got the other guys, the Mara and all this, and the ones from the West Coast, like they have like a bulldog. Forgot their name, but I used to watch all that shit on TV, you know, and learn. You know, I learned a lot about. And I'll tell you a story later. because this is about you guys, not about me. But I've learned a lot about gang bangings, like the organizations, how they run. But I've also learned a lot from narco traffickers.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're a different level.
And
they're organizations.
They're organizations, right? And I was watching Netflix one day, and I was frustrated. Like, I was in a point in my life where I had an acquisitions guy that was good. I had a TC that was okay. She was good. I loved her. I loved all my team members, at that point. I only had like 4 or 5. But I was like, I had this revolving door of people coming in and out. And I was just tired of it. I was like, man, I got to train another guy. And I got to train another guy. How? So I went and this is in 2020 during the pandemic. And then we're going through the pandemic, right? Now you're questioning all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And I had a bunch of deals on the board, but I was just tired of the rat race, the spinning the wheels, right? I had just sold my house. And I sold my house and I didn't have a place to live for me and my family. I just told them, let's put everything on a storage. Let's pack up, let's go to Florida. We're going on vacations. And we took off for like a month. So while I'm in Florida, I turned off my phone. They could have called me about 20 deals one day. I did not give a shit. Literally. None whatsoever. They managed to do whatever they were doing on their own, my team. And we were working virtual, right? And here comes the new season of Narcos.
On Netflix.
And I was like, I'm gonna watch this, man. I never watched Netflix because I'm a hustler, right? I'm always fucking working on the business and this and that. Watch Narcos, man. And I'm watching this thing, right? Episode after episode after episode.
Oh, you're binging.
And I'm binging on it. I actually binged on Neymar's, the soccer player, 2 or 3 nights ago here in Phoenix. I was at the hotel just watching that. And so I'm going, bam, 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 bam. But right in the middle of it, and this is Narcos Mexico, right? This is past the Escobars and those guys. I'm like, man, how did all these thugs manage to work with each other and be part of an organization? How come we don't do that in our space? And that idea was just running around my head, And I'm thinking about it, I was like, how can I implement that? How can I have my own cartel in the real estate business? So as I'm coming back, now I'm coming back to Houston again, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta get me an apartment now, or a house, whatever, I got an apartment. I gotta talk to my team and figure out how I'm gonna move forward from there.
Are we gonna be Narcos?
Well, something like that.
Right.
So I get back and got the apartment, got situated in Katy, which is on the west side of Houston, and I called my team, my three or four people that I had at the time. And we met for coffee or something like that, I own a skip tracing company and a texting platform, so we have an office in like a co-working area center. So I use that. I say, hey, let's go meet over there, have coffee, drinks. Let's think about how we want to move forward. So as soon as they sit down, I still don't know. I still don't have a plan. I had this, but I didn't have a plan. I was like, guys, how would you guys like to make more money? And they're looking at me like, the fuck is Ricardo talking about? I said, yeah, man, like, how would you like guys to make what I make? And Juan goes, fuck, how? What do I need to do? All right, just save that for now. Lauren.
That's cartel shit.
Lauren, and she's like, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the other guy was. I think it was Alex. And he said, well, I'm here for whatever, right? I said, okay, you motherfuckers are fired now. And they're like, what? Yeah, you're all fired. I don't need you guys. Now, this is how we're going to work together now. You're gonna fill in a seat on my team on the cartel. But now you're gonna do your marketing. You're gonna buy your systems. You're gonna buy your lists, and you're gonna get your own VAs, and you're gonna get all of these things. And I will help you do all of that. But we're gonna go triple, quadruple our leads and our contracts. And that's how I started the wholesaling cartel, literally. Bro, we went from me having, I don't know, 15 deals on the board to 60. 60. I mean, he got so good that some of these guys got complacent. They started showing up at 10 a.m.
That's a lot.
If they showed up. And because now they're bosses. They're like, oh, I own my own time. Yeah. That created a whole new set of problems for me.
Meditation, the mindset, the grind.
Yeah, but they were now...
In Spanish, you say...
and I charged them rent. I said, now the rent that we're going to get an office, you're going to pay rent in the office. Just like I pay rent, you pay rent too. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. So, but they started, like, now they're all on their own now. They don't work with me anymore. They're all doing their own thing.
You should have locked in the royalties.
Not really, because I did benefit from their work. Like, I did make money off of it.
Yeah.
But now what's happened is whoever's on my team, that opportunity is still open. So they know that they don't have a cap with me. They don't need to go open their own operation. Why? Why are you going to go open your own operation when you're here with me and we're all helping each other out? I'm going to help. There's got to be some value I bring to them, so that work is a win-win, right? And they understand. And I got my dispositions guy right now, Caesar. He started working with me in May as a trainee, basically. Like, he was a student. Like, he came to learn, and he's got right now locked up over $200,000 worth of assignments because of that opportunity. And guess who gets to eat from that as well? I do. Now, he eats from my deals, I eat from his deals as well. And everyone in our team, now it just becomes a centrifuge. It's like, now, whoever's coming in, I just don't want employees. I was like, hey, man, you're going to come work with us? All right. I understand you don't have money today, but when you do, I want you to do marketing. Are you going to do it? Yes. Okay. Sign here, sign here, sign here. Because I want to make sure that you create deals for the rest of the team as well. So now it's just not me or you or you. Now, if you guys got 4, 5, 6 people around here, if each one of you can create 10 to 15 deals, what does that look like?
Oh, it's a big operation.
Yep. It's a huge operation. Mm-hmm. Right?
80, 100 deals.
You can't have them. I've had 60 to 70 I got 100 right now. So, but it's because of that mentality. And now it's only me and Cesar in the office. We have a 3,000 square foot office. I went back to the landlord and said, dude, I got to downgrade. Like, I don't need that big space anymore. But anyhow, I just figured, we talked a little bit about narcos and the wholesaling cartel because we kind of like fell in that route. So your dad was here. He was in and out of real estate and he was on the streets as a hustler, right? Which I'm pretty sure you picked up a lot of that from work ethics, because that being on the streets doesn't mean you are. You can be a criminal, you can be whatever. But guess criminals also have work ethics.
Oh, huge.
Huge work ethics, right? Yeah. If not, go ask Pablo Escobar. And then if you see him, let me know because he's dead. But, but work ethics.
And the good ones are disciplined.
The good ones are disciplined, and they don't consume their own drugs.
Yep.
Right? So, I'm from Venezuela, so I'm aware of the whole thing. But and I had a lot of friends in that business. Unfortunately, some of them are dead. Some of them are doing other things today. Thanks God they didn't die, but that's just the life, that provides. So you were here gangbanging until when? When did you stop gangbanging? How old were you?
I didn't stop gangbanging until I was probably 18. But in that phase, I developed an enemy. So I had this guy that we were gunning for each other.
Right.
Like, every day. So if I seen him at a party.
Was he a blood?
Blood.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were kind of gunning for each other. We were looking for each other. We had a little fight on the bus, and it just kind of escalated from there. So I'm gunning for this guy, and I catch him one day coming from Circle K. And we track him down, me and the other buddy, and we just run up on him. Me and him run up on him. We had pockets. We check him down. Nobody has anything. I check the other guy. My homie checks the guy that I have issues with. So we tell him, like, what are you guys doing over here? What you doing on the block? All right. And they're nervous. So we're like, yeah, we got him. So as I'm reaching for this guy, I went to grab him. The guy that I've been beefing with for a while pulls a gun out and he puts it to my head. And then my whole life just kind of like flashed. Right before it flashed, I seen like a hand kind of come down in my face. I don't know where the hand was, but my hand, I seen like a hand do this. And he shot. He shot 2 shots, just flashes in my face. And at that point, I thought I was done.
Dead, yeah.
Done. But something weird happened is I opened my eyes back up. I'm still there, right? These guys are running, right? I'm with my partner. He's like, let's go. So we start running down the street. As I'm running down the street.
But he pulled up a gun in your head and he shot, but he didn't hit you.
Oh, he hit me.
He hit you. Where did he hit you at?
Leg.
In your leg?
It's like 2 shots in my leg.
So he shot you in the legs?
Yes.
That's weird.
So that was the whole thing is like when my eyes closed, I seen the hand go like this.
Right, so the hand pushed the gun down.
Yes. So he shot me in my legs.
Right.
I ran about a block, full block, and I'm with my homeboy. I'm like, bro, I can't walk.
Yeah.
Right? Something's going on. So he's like, what's up? I run to this lady's house. I fall in the driveway, and I'm just like, I can't move. And he's freaking out because it's like a pool of blood.
Right.
I don't even know I'm hit yet.
Right.
So he freaks out. He knocks on the lady's door. She spoke no English. Right. She comes out. She's freaking out. Right. She didn't really want to call the cops. So I'm sitting here like, I'm gonna die. Like I'm just gonna bleed out. So he ends up finding somebody, gets some help, comes to an ambulance. I was just hitting the legs. So at this point, I'm furious. Get out the hospital. I'm running around.
I'm gonna go find that guy everywhere.
There's some talk.
He won't be able to hide from me ever again.
That was my energy.
Right.
So there's some talk around that they got rid of me, right? That's kind of the words going around. It's like he handled business with his people. Right. So I'm just mad. I'm furious. So I keep going. I keep looking for this guy, hunting him down. I can't find him. I end up getting desperate, robbed a Jack-in-the-Box for some money because I needed some guns for some bullets.
Right.
Robbed a Jack-in-the-Box.
You were working on your redemption plan, on your vengeance.
That was I was 14. So robbed the Jack-in-the-Box. End up having a fight with the people in the Jack-in-the-Box. Ended up shooting a couple people in the Jack-in-the-Box.
Wow.
That led me to prison. So prison came. They wanted to give me 30 years. The judge felt bad for me. Ended up giving me 15. So I served 12 years of 15. I went to prison at 14.
So you got out. 10 years is 24. 29. When you were 29. So from 14 years. Now, when you were in prison from 14 to 18, were you in the adult prison or?
No, they don't do that no more.
Okay.
They don't do that no more. So they put you with juvenile, which is here in Tucson.
Okay.
I was there till I turned 18. Once you turn 18, then they put you in.
They transferred.
They put you in with adults. Yeah.
Right.
They stopped that years ago because too many adults were taking advantage of juveniles.
Yeah, raping kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you get in there, and what is life like?
For me, different because I still had that same energy when I went in.
Yeah, you didn't change.
Oh no,
You didn't change. You were just madder now. Like, yes. If anything, now you're a monster. Like you're like, oh my God. Now you're. It's like a
plague.
It's like a pit bull that hasn't been trained that now gets locked up.
Yes.
They're if they get out of that thing, they'll eat up anything, right? So now you're in there, and I know you have the gangs inside too.
Oh yeah, It's all the same people.
You just went right back to your friends that were gone now.
Yeah. But then there's different. Here in Arizona, it's a little bit different because it's the people you were beefing with are now your homies. And it's not a racial thing. Now it's whites, it's blacks.
It changes.
Mexicans, right? And then the whites, right? Or the Indians.
Yeah, because it changes into a racial thing, not a gang thing.
So in there, everybody becomes, now you're kind of like, the things that you had before, it becomes now it's racial. So it's like now my cellmate is a dude that I was literally trying to kill a few months ago. Now we're like, we squashed that, we're best buds, we need to link up, squash up just in case.
Yeah, now we got to look after our backs.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. That's pretty much how prison is here in Arizona. And it's terrible.
I think it's everywhere. Everywhere is probably the same way. Now, here in Arizona, because you're so close to Mexico, the proximity to having a heavily Mexican, population that were a bunch of criminals, it's pretty high, and then everything else that comes with it, right? But man, 12 years is a long time, brother. And did you, while you were in prison, did you go back to school? Did you go back to learning? Like, you had to start doing something for yourself to or did you just stay as a gangbanger for as long as you could?
It took me 8 years.
8 years.
8 years of I was fighting everybody,
right.
Anybody, everybody.
Well, in prison is different because in prison you can't show any weakness.
100%.
If you show weakness,
you're done.
You're done, man.
Yeah, you're done.
And I could understand why you will go in there and be the same people or worse for a longer time now. So in 8 years, what happened?
8 years, well, before I got to the 8 years, 4 years in, I got into it with two officers, and we had a good little fight. Me and two officers talking crap. We fought. We went in there. I was causing so much ruckus on everywhere I was going that the warden came down. She was a lady. She came down. She came to see me. It was like, Mr. Spencer, right? What the hell are you doing? Like, why do you keep causing shit on my damn? This is like, I run the show. I told her, no, I run the show. Fuck you. And she was like, you want to play that game? I was like, yeah, let's play the fucking game. Lock the door right now. What's up? So she opens the door. I didn't think she would, right? Little short Hispanic lady. She opens the door. And as soon as she opens the door, I spit a noogie in her face. And she just, like, that's the worst thing you ever just did. Shuts the door. I figured they're gonna come and like we gonna rally. I felt like let's go. We're gonna have a little fight. She threw me in the hole for 4 years. Naked. No lights, no blankets.
In the hole.
In the hole. In the hole.
4 years.
4 years.
Bro, you must have went fucking crazy in there.
I did. I lost my mind.
What a way to humble you. Wow.
So in there, I lost my mind. I can't even tell you what happened in that span. The only thing I remember, I was dreaming, and in my dream, I was fighting demons and different stuff. And I woke up that one of the demons was choking me.
Well, you were fighting demons and things like that. Because what happens is, now, do you believe in energy?
Oh yeah, now 100%.
100%, right? So what happens is, unfortunately, you were in all the places that you were before, like the neighborhoods, the gangs, the streets, the gang banging, drug dealing, all that stuff. That's all low energy, right? And as you're feeding that, that's really what you're attracting and you're attaching to yourself. But a prison is just filled with it, right?
Yes.
So, but now you bring this. You coming from now you're mad. You're mad as hell because you're going here and you're attracting more of that. And then you go into isolation. You got that energy with you. So all those demons, they were all real. I don't think there's another way to put it. And to be 4 years in isolation, Yeah, that's
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Now, did you see anybody in those 4 years?
So, 2 years of it, yes. 2 years of my life, I have no idea. Like 2 years,
because you blacked out.
I was done.
Groundhog Day, you blacked out. It's you wake up and there's 4. That's it. Like there's no. Wow, dude.
The only thing I seen was officer and psych. That was it. The rest is in there is like anybody in there is crazy. Super crazy. Eating their own feces, peeing everywhere, like yelling, screaming every day, banging, hitting their heads, cutting themselves. Like that was the environment in the whole. Because it messes with you psychologically.
They're trying to kill themselves. They're trying to end their lives.
Because it's you lost it. You count every crack. You count every. Right. It's just the same thing every day, and it makes you nuts, super nuts.
Wow! And you didn't have any family to go and.
Oh, I did.
And try to pull you out, or
no, I did.
You did?
I did. They just couldn't get a hold. They told him like, he's in the hole. He's can't get a hold of him. Oh, my mother was trying to get a hold of me.
4 years. And that's in between you being what, 18 and 24, or
probably a little older. 22, 24, somewhere in there.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. I never heard anything like that. And finally they said, all right, man, you're out of the hole.
No. So I was not here, right? I was in my little fight. And I woke up one day, I was in a dream world, right? So I can't understand what it's like to lose your mind. But I was in a dream world, and I was fighting like demons. And one demon got a hold of me, and he was choking the shit out of me, right? So I woke up to fight back. When I woke up and fought back, I came back to this world. And it was a doctor, right, who was pulling a tube out of my throat. I was in the hospital. So he's pulling a tube out of my throat, and I went to grab him, and I was trying to choke him, right? And I finally came to, and I was back here. I was in the hospital. So they brought me back. I had a moment where I was freaking out, like, what the fuck just happened? All right, threw me in a hole, threw me in a cell. They sent me right back to prison, right back in the same place.
But why were you in the hospital?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
And he's not on your records anywhere that you can say why you went into the hospital?
Not in prison.
Wow. So because you were choking the doctor, now you're going back in.
So it sent me right back where I was at. He's good. Right back where he goes. So they sent me right back, and now I'm conscious, I'm sane, and I'm listening to all this stuff, and it's like, it's crazy. I'm like, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. So I'm begging the psych. She comes by with her little pills, and she's like, here, take your pills. And I'm like, look, like, give me a book. Like, give me something I can read or something. Like, I'm literally going crazy. I need, like, something. And she was like, no, stands a trap. She goes, she does it every day. I beg her for a week. Like, give me something I can kind of do or entertain my mind. She's like, no, she's not a trap. So after a week of this, I said, all right, I'm going all in. Like, she comes back, I'm grabbing her ass. So she comes back, and I'm playing it smooth. And she's like, you want to take your pills today? And I was like, sure, I'll take my pills. So she comes, I grab her. I snatch her up. And I tell her, like, you're going to give me something. She was like, let me go. I was like, look, you're going to give me something. And she pulls away. She slams the trap. She's like, you're not going to get shit. Fuck you. It's okay. She walks away. 2 days later, the officer who was with her threw a book in my cell, which was Cybernetics. I still have the book to the day. And that was the thing that kept me sane. I learned how to read through that book. It was tough because I had 8th grade literacy. It taught me how to control my mind. It taught me how to set goals. It taught me how to plan, how to dream, all from that one little book. So from there, I used that to kind of cope. I was a different person after I read that book, and it was my Bible that kept me alive. Like, that was where I kept sinking to.
What's the name of that book again?
Cybernetics.
Cybernetics, okay.
So that was my manual. That was my Bible that I kept going to. And after about 6 months of being there, they started to notice that I was different from everybody else. I didn't take the pills. I didn't need the pills, right? And I was just cool, copacetic, working out. That was it. Did my routine. After 6 months, it came and evaluated me, and it was like, you're good. We're going to bring you back. So from there, I get back to the yard, and I'm a totally different person. I started getting into religion. I started to get into spirituality. I started to read more books. And at that point, I started to get my GED. I actually went to college. In there, I got my paralegal degree while I was in prison. Went to ASU online in prison as well for computer engineering. Also construction engineering as well while I was in prison. Got out, like ready to go. Ready to go.
So you got degrees?
Oh yeah.
What kind of degrees you got? So you got your paralegal, you talked about that.
Yes.
And do you have a bachelor's also?
Bachelor's.
Oh, in what?
Computer science.
Wow, dude. You should have been dead, dude. Not getting out with degrees and stuff. Which makes you question why don't they treat inmates with books like that earlier on?
They don't. It's actually regulated. So books in there are like highly regulated. You got to sneak books in. I remember we were getting books of. I was talking to the guys about it. Is when I first realized I was a good closer. Is when somebody snuck in the Art of Seduction, and they were reading it on paper. And it was being passed around everywhere, and we're like reading it like junkies. And we were doing so much stuff with the women guards in there, right? Because we were reading this stuff and we were doing it against them. And I was telling the guys, like, the first time I noticed I was good at speaking, right, and I was good at actually closing people, is there was an actual female officer who was white. If you're white in there, you hang with the whites. If you're Mexican in there, you hang with the Mexicans, even if you're a guard. Okay? She would just let all the other inmates out that were white. So the ABs, the skinheads, she would let them out. And one day I came out and she was crying. And I was like, what's up? What's going on? Why are you crying? And she was like, they just won't lock down. I'm going to get fired. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, look, I'll do this. Why don't you let me out? Right? Just so I can kind of get in and go to the shower. Is that okay? And she was like, yes. So we had that relationship where she would let me out. I would get in, I would do what I need to do and go lock down. All right. I reached out to her another time and I was like, hey, look, like, I'm very respectful. I haven't disrespected you. I haven't done anything to you. All right. I kind of lock. I go down when you want me to come out. I come out when you want me to come out. Why don't you let a few other people out as well? And I'll make sure when they come out, they lock down. And she was like, okay. So we would go out. I'd pick a few guys, like, what's up? You want to come out? Yes. What you need to do? Okay. Make it happen. You got about an hour. After that, let's lock down so we can keep this thing going. And I had this thing where, like, if you wanted out, I was the guy when she was there. And then she told other officers as well, which now I was the guy. Like, you want to get out and make your deals and do what you need to do. Like, so at that point, I noticed that this book was the shit.
Yeah, because you started learning how to persuade people and persuade them in a way to where you communicated more effectively with them. They felt empathy for you, and then you started to accomplish things. Well, but that's also survival mode, right? You're in survival mode in jail, and you're getting very creative on how to do things. And man, I need to go get a shower, or I want to go use the restroom, or I want to go meet with whoever you're gonna go meet to do whatever it is that you guys did back then. So tell me more about when you start getting closer to get out. Like how is that sensation? Like, you're in it for, 10, 11 years. Now you read books, right?
Oh yeah.
You were working on yourself.
Yes.
You're getting degrees. You're being a good inmate, basically, But now I got a year left, or I got a few months left. How does that feel? Like,
for me, it was different because the stuff that I was reading made me excited to get out. Like, everybody else was kind of like, I'm probably coming back.
Yeah.
Like, when we see people leave, we know, like, he'll be back in 6 months.
Yeah.
We kind of have that feeling, like, he'll be back.
Right.
I think it's recidivism, where it's a high rate for you to come back. It's like 80% people leave, definitely coming back. So I geared up for a game plan on not happening. For me, this is it. I'm done. So I read books. I ordered some books. I got some books. I had my family send me some copies of some stuff on how to get out of prison and be successful, how to write a resume, how to do different things. I started to read all these things. So I learned how to do a resume. I was working on my communication skills, how to find a job, who hires ex-cons in the areas, which that's how I got into construction. Because they hire ex-cons. So that was my game plan, and the feeling for me was excitement. I was ready. I was geared up. I knew that my plans were going to happen. I also got a book that my dad sent me, which is Dean Gracioso. It was the first real estate book I read in there, which opened my eyes up to.
That guy lives here in Phoenix.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm looking forward to meeting him one day.
Yeah.
So that's actually that opened my eyes up. I wanted to get into real estate. So when I got out of prison, the first thing I did was look for real estate or look for construction jobs.
What year is this?
2013.
This is when you got out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 8 years ago now. So
This is 12.
Yeah, I mean 2013. Oh yeah, yeah. So when did you finally start getting into real estate?
7 years.
7 years ago.
I got into construction, and so that I got into construction to learn real estate.
Right.
Because I feel like I want to build.
You gotta learn how to put the bricks together.
I want to put everything together. So I got into framing. I work with. Start off all Mexicans, the only ones who hire. Right. That's why I got good relationships with people who are Hispanic. I got into it, framing, drywall, roofing, tiling. From there, I went into commercial construction and started to get safety degrees. And now I'm kind of like high salary, 6-figure a year guy. And I kind of forgot about my dream, which is real estate, because I'm making too much money.
Right.
So it took me about 7 to 8 years before I kind of just hit a peak. I hit a racial peak in construction because there's a political.
And every company's the same way.
There's a political bubble that I didn't know about until I hit it, and I'm trying to figure out like why can't I go? Like I got everything this guy has and more, right? He works 8 hours, he's out, right? I'm here 12, yeah. 13 hours, right? What? So I had that little bubble, and it frustrated me, and I started to realize that I need to go back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is real estate. So I quit. No plan, no game plans, no money, no anything saved. Got a wife, she's freaked out. Right? She's like, don't do it, you're making 6 figures a year, like you're tripping. I quit, I go into it, hardcore, door knocking, right? That's my specialty. Door knocking, my first deal came in real estate in 3 months. It took me 3 months of door knocking, making phone calls. The way I actually got my first deal was Facebook Marketplace. So I guess Facebook has an algorithm where if you're interacting with Facebook, like you're like number one when it comes to notifications. So in the mornings, I would reach out to all the yard sales, all the local marketplace groups, and I'm in it talking to people, communicating with people. If you put up a yard sale, I'd reach out to you like, is the house for sale too? So Facebook put me at the top of the notifications. I got a little ding from Facebook that somebody was selling a house from an agent. It was an agent that had it. And I reached out to him, I was like, hey, I'll buy it. And we jumped on the phone 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking to the agent. And he was like, hey, you can't wholesale it. Are you a wholesaler? And I was like, no, I'm not a wholesaler. I'm a cash buyer. That's what I do. He's like, cool. He's like, you got to put it in a contract. You can't wholesale it. It comes with a tenant, 6 months on a lease. She's way underneath market rents, right? I'm just like, cool. Sounds good to me. Let's lock it up. So I work it out with him. I got this deal. I sent it to a guy, and lo and behold, this guy's name is Jesse Burrell, right? So I sent him the deal. He's like, bro, I had it so low, right? I didn't know my numbers. I had it at 50% of ARV. I did not know that, right? I didn't know nothing about real estate, but I sent it to Jesse, and I was like, hey, bro, I got this thing at like 120. And he was like, fucking send it to me, right? I was like, cool, let me get the contracts. So I work it in, I get the deal, I send it over to the guy. I didn't have a contract. Jesse sends me his contract, right? He's like, Rego, right? I get it on the contract, and he gives me the wrong fucking company.
To put it under?
To put it under, right. First I put it under mine, right? And I put it in there as some LLC that I didn't even have yet. So Jesse's like, Ray, do you have this LLC? I said, no. He said, are you going to make this LLC? I said, yeah, as soon as I get paid. He said, well, how are you going to close? I don't know.
Yeah. You were just gone.
I don't know, right? He was like, well, you can't close under the LLC. I was like, cool, I'll change that, right? So I put it underneath my name with the agent. And I sent it to him, and he's like, Ray, you can't wholesale this thing, right? I was like, no. Well, how am I going to buy it? I was like, well, I don't know. Can't you figure that out? He's like, no, bro, you got to put it underneath my LLC, right? I was like, I got to go back to the agent, bro, and talk to him. Like, he was like, good luck. Good luck, right? So I go back to the agent, I'm talking to the agent, and I'm like, man, I made a mistake. I put it under mine. It was a long night. I actually got to put it under my other company. Jesse sends it to me. I was just on the company, all right? I get it under this company, and the agent was like, okay, cool. He's like, that's weird, but you did it twice. Let's not do it again. I was like, all right, cool. Jesse calls me and is like, bro, I fucked up. I was like, what's up? He was like, I gave you the wrong LLC. You're going to have to change it to another LLC. He was like, you're probably not going to get this deal, bro. You just started, you're not going to get this deal. And I'm just like, He's like, but if you get it, I'll give you 10 grand. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I gotta get this fucking deal. I gotta figure this shit out. I'm gonna get this deal. So I talked to the agent. I said, you know what? Man, I made a mistake. Huge mistake. I was like, you human, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, you make mistakes, right? He was
You're
like, yeah.
human, right?
I was like, okay, this thing has happened like 3 times. I know you're probably freaking out. You're being weird, but I put it underneath my flipping company because I was planning on flipping this property. But you have the tenant in it. I kind of forgot that we're locked in with the tenant at 6 months. I need to put this LLC underneath my rental company. Then I can exchange it. Like, you understand taxes and stuff. He was like, yeah, I get it. I said, okay. Is that cool? Can we switch it one more time? I was like, I know we've done this 4 times already. Can we switch it one more time? He was like, look, I need you guys to have EMD by tomorrow. He's like, you guys are fucking around too much, right? Yeah. I said, I apologize. I was like, just being human, I made some mistakes. We'll have EMD tomorrow. Let's switch it over to the other company, right? He said, all right, this is the last time. I was like, cool. Get it in, push it in. I get it to Jesse. I'm like, bro, you gotta wire fucking funds, right? Tomorrow. He's like, I can't, bro. I need pictures. What does it look like? I'm like, oh, this thing's fucking killing me. I was like, all right, I'll get you pictures. So I go by the house, talk to the tenant. The agent told me don't talk to the tenant. I went to talk to the tenant anyway. He was like, hey, I'm the person coming out to buy. I don't mean to disturb you, right? I don't want you to disturb the buyers either, but I kind of need pictures, and then they want to give me the pictures of what the property looks like. And I want to make sure you're okay because we're going to be having a relationship after this. She's just like, oh, okay. I was like, but you can't tell the seller because they're gonna stop the deal. She's like, okay. Went in, got pictures, sent them to Jesse. I was like, all right, bro, let's go. Ready? Close, 10K. There I go, first deal.
Now, how much how much money do you leave on the table on that deal?
80 grand.
80 grand.
80 grand.
Well,
80, I didn't know nothing about it, but Jesse was good enough. The thing with Jesse is that this is the point where Jesse was not that big yet.
Right.
And Jesse offered me a job. At that point, he liked my hustle. He was like, bro, what do you do? Like, what do you? I was like, I'm knocking, I'm calling him. He's like, you're a good person on the phone. He's like, would you like a job? And I'm looking at all his employees, and I'm just like, I just quit my job. I'm making 10 grand. He's like, here's the thing. He's like, you gotta lock in with me for 6 months. He's like, can you do that? And I'm like, how much am I making? It was commissions, I was like, well, can I do any other states? He's like, no. I was like, well, what states are you in? Right? He's like, I'm in Arizona and I'm in Vegas. Well, can I do Florida? He's like, if you do, you got to bring the deal to me. I was like, man, I don't like this. Nah, man. I was like, nah, I'm good. He's like, look, bro, don't mess up this opportunity. He's like, being around me. He's like, I'm in this business. He's like, being around me, you learn.
What year is this?
2018.
Okay. Yeah, they're already up and coming.
2018. And I was like, nah, I'm all right, bro. I'll take my 10K. I'll count my losses. And he showed me the business. He literally showed me, like, what the business was. He was like, you guys start here, all right? Anybody who's a wholesaler just starting, us who are intermediate or higher wholesalers or agents, we built this bubble around you guys. Then when you get deals, you got to go through us. You don't even really get to the actual buyers. You got to get through us, right? I thought about it and I said, well, why would I bring you deals after that? I never bought them a deal ever since. From there, I was always trying to find the end buyer, which
they're everywhere now.
They're everywhere now.
Now, all right, so let's fast forward. That's a very interesting first deal. Because you left, because of lack of education, you left $80K on the table.
Yes.
Right? But you still made money on the deal. And for you, those 10 grand were probably the oxygen you needed at that time to
I was ready. I was fucking ready.
suck up the oxygen, hold off your breath for a little bit,
yes.
and then move on, right? This is 2018, and we're in 2022. This is only 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. You just told me that you stopped, and this is before the podcast, that you stopped everything in December. And it was a 7-figure operation, right? Why you do that?
My whole purpose now is I've made it.
Right.
And I got my car, I got my house, my Corvette, I'm living good. I can spend here all day long for the next month. Right. But it doesn't benefit him. Correct. Right. It doesn't benefit anybody.
Everybody else.
Right. So I decided that, yes, I'm living high and mighty, and I'm so locked into the business, I can't really get out of it.
Right.
So I decided, like, I need to shut it down.
And redesign it.
That's how we met for the automation. And bring other people up with me.
Yeah, so in a way, what you're really telling me is that, yeah, you made some money. You have a good lifestyle, but you weren't fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, if you're fulfilled, then you're good.
Yes.
But if the business, the way it looks like, is not fulfilling you, then there's still a missing component.
100%.
And that's why you shut it down and you're reinventing it back up again. And what does that business look like moving forward now that you guys are working together?
The business now is I'm working with my first mentee student and Taif as well, who's a mentee of Zach Keeps, and they have huge aspirations of building a wholesale company. So I don't want the wholesale, right? I love the wholesale. I just don't want to be in it, right? For me, going through all this stuff, I understand business now, 100%, right? That's not a business. I was self-employed, right? So now I want to switch where I'm in business and I'm in that Robert Kiyosaki quadrant.
Yep.
I'm business and I'm an investor, right? So now I want to leverage my knowledge and let the people who are coming up, you go ahead, you run the business, right? Well, I can do other things as well. That's the position I'm in now.
So we're doing a couple of startups from wholesaling commercial properties. We have a data company as well, a robotics company as well. We're starting a community that we want to grow. And to the community, what we want to find is people that are in a way, I guess, been through our same situations. Because growing up, when I had the other business with my brother, we used to sit down in meeting rooms, in our meeting room, and we used to mastermind. And we used to say, man, where can we find other people like this that we would love to talk about business? And we just couldn't find them. And even here, there is groups out here that are meetups and stuff like that, and even part of the communities that other people have. You go in there and you still don't have truly leadership people. You have a lot of people that are kind of never done business at all. Like they're not even, like it's either you're way out here or you're way
out here. That's the majority.
Right?
People are never done anything.
We're trying to grow a community of finding people that are like up and coming, that have an understanding, that are humble enough and open enough to learn from others. Because a lot of people coming up don't want to learn from nobody. They are super closed, you know.
It's ego.
The mindset part,
it's ego.
It's the beginning of everything. And so we're looking for the people that do have an open mind, that are coachable, that are truly trainable. We would like to be their investors in their future, you know. And right. I've seen the system, like I told you, it works in everything now. So we're turning around everything that we're doing with strategic partners is we're building an automated system, putting them in the role. They're running the conveyor belts, right? Once it's flowing, we go and create another conveyor belt, let that build, let it run, and something like that. So that's kind of my part in that, in this idea. is we look at businesses, we automate them. So our benefit is our knowledge and my knowledge as well. Automating their businesses and then just guiding the people, being true mentors to people, not gurus, mentors to people that are truly looking for a mentor. Somebody that you can say, hey, how do you think I should do this? This marketing is not working.
Well, there's three things that you have to take in consideration, right? When it comes to the mentorship, there's 3 levels of education. You have the mentor, the coach,
yes,
and the teacher.
Yes.
There's a difference in between the 3. Now, a mentor can be somebody like Dean Graziosi. Mm-hmm. You read a book, you picked up a lot from it. He's actually your mentor. Now, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that he's your mentor. You picked him as a mentor. I think what you're referring more is to be a coach, because coaches are different. When you're in the football field and you're running, and your steps are not the way they're supposed to be, the coach comes in and says, hey, make your steps like that. Or when you're gonna swing the bat, you're swinging too low, you gotta swing left, and your elbow needs to be higher. That's the coach. So the coach, and you pick coaches, or the coaches pick you, depending on how the organization runs, right? But the mentor is not necessarily, now you can pick somebody, or they can pick you. Like I said, hey, I want Ray to mentor me, like on how to, even in prison, like how do you transition out of prison and not go back, right? Like something like that. You pick a coach. Hey, this is what you do, man. You found yourself a group. You read these books. You work on yourself. You do bam, 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 bam. Now, if I say maybe a mentor is whatever, the mentors, they're like a little higher up, but they're mentoring people they don't even necessarily know they're mentoring. The coach is more like this. We're one-on-ones or on a group coach. And then there's the teachers. The teachers, I would say, Sean Terry is a teacher. Why is that? Because Sean Terry will go get on a board, explain everything, and then sell those videos, right? How to do PPC, how to do this. Now, he does coaching too, but that's on a higher level. So as long as you know which levels you are and how you're approaching it, I got no doubts that you're going to be successful. Man, this one has gone a long time because it's 2 of you. And there is so much we still need to cover. But I have another interview after you guys that I was due 15 minutes ago.
Do me a favor. Give me 2 hot questions and let us ask them in like seconds.
Yeah. So, well, this is the thing. We're gonna have to do another podcast because this is you guys got a lot more to add, and I want the next podcast to be more your business, right? And I think the good thing is when we meet again on a podcast, you will now have in fruition what you're building today. Your plan will be running, and now we can go back and say, hey, you remember when you shut down your business in December? We met in January. You started this new approach. How is it going today, right? But the questions that I like to ask both of you is today personal development. How much of it do you guys do?
Personal development?
Yeah.
I would say I spend at least 2 hours a day on personal development.
Is it in the morning, in the evening?
So I have a long drive. I live in Buckeye.
Yeah.
It's about a 45-minute drive.
Okay.
I try to read. I'm trying to read as many books as I can, and that's how I've actually developed myself so much this last year.
Okay.
Is every book I hear somebody mention, well, I put it on my audio, and I'm listening to it on the way to work. And when I leave the office, on the way back home, I'm listening to the book. Sometimes if it's good, I'll get home and I'll start reading with my kids and listening as well.
Okay.
So that's what I would say for self-development. 2 hours of that reading, But really, throughout the day, me and Ray are like masterminding. Sometimes too much, I think. Sometimes we do say, hey, man, we gotta break and get to work. Because we do mastermind quite a bit. We strategize, we talk about business and where the state of the business is, truly focusing on the business, not necessarily being in.
Right.
And kind of just how that transition is working. Like, hey, are we still seeing ourselves in it, or are we on it? You know?
Right.
And if we're still in it, hey, I'm working on this, man. He's like, why are you doing that? That you're being in. You know, it's the habit of breaking yourself away from it and delegating and all that stuff. So we catch each other doing that. So I would say on a daily basis, that's another form of self-development that we constantly work on as well.
Got it. What about you, Ray?
Mine's a lot. Mine's intensive. So I read like an animal. I don't sleep much. I meditate a lot.
Okay.
I just got introduced to psychedelics last year to help me break through a lot of stuff that I really needed.
The onion.
Yeah, I had to break through a lot of different stuff that helped me reach a different level. I'm going heavier to more psychedelic. It's ayahuasca I got coming up.
Who do you get in with it? On the psychedelics?
So I have a few people. I have my mentor was Brian Pontiano.
Yeah, BP. I know BP. I put him. He was on my podcast last year. Yeah.
He's the one that introduced me to shrooms the first time around. Like I was struggling with some stuff. He's like, bro, you need to tap in because you got that ego. So I had an ego check to let my ego down. I took ayahuasca. I took DMT. So BP's my plug. My other business partner hooked me up with the DMT. I have a girl who brings a shaman from Peru whose name is Farron. And we take.
I met Farron.
Farron she's the plug for the ayahuasca.
Yeah, I met her at Corey's office.
Yeah, she's the plug. Yeah, she's the plug.
Wow.
So I dive heavily when it comes to personal development. That's my core backing. I am a drug addict to personal development. I spend at least no less than $2,000 a month on my personal development, reading, studying, tapping into different stuff that everybody is kind of into, so I can make sure I'm good, I'm clear, so when I come to these guys, I got a good mindset and my bottle is tapped.
Good, man.
Well, I would add to that too, because I started doing it since I started kind of going through Ray and him helping me with the mindset part, is the meditation. Every morning I wake up, usually first 30-40 minutes of my morning, I wake up, I walk to my office, I have my house, I sit down and just kind of go through my meditation. That's the time I also write ideas or kind of think about what we're going to do in the day, and I'll write in a notebook, and that's usually my first hour.
Yeah, you have a morning routine.
Yeah. And then head out and start.
But you need to sleep more.
Yes, he does. He's texting me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No, you have to sleep more because eventually your body needs to rest. That resting has a benefit to it, right? It's hard when you got so many things going in your head to find that peace to go to fall asleep. But you meditating like you're already doing and kind of like meditating yourself to sleep will probably help you do that. But then, what's a message to the audience, man? Like, what do you guys have to say?
I would say one thing, and this is for me, biggest thing that has transformed me this year, and we're actually trying to figure out if it's something that's teachable. I don't think it is, just from other books that I've read, is before you get into trying to be in real estate or in business in general, one, don't overthink it, just do it. Like Nike says, that's one thing I would say. But also focus on yourself. The mindset part is huge. Without mindset, understanding of energy and how things work, you will go on repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again until it finally clicks. So that's what I would say. Focus on mindset, energy, and just doing it. Don't get stuck on overthinking things.
Good. What about you, Ray?
Failure is your friend.
Yep.
You will not get there if you're trying to be successful. You have to fail all the way through. Never give up. Ever give up.
So you're a prime example of that.
Never give up. Keep going. And take care of yourself. Must. You gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah, man, I admire you, dude, because your journey, that's a tough deal, brother. 12 years in, then 4 years in isolation, going crazy, working out of that to rebuild a new you, finishing your GED and then getting your degrees and then coming out to the world and becoming a success. that's a story of redemption. Not that I don't admire you, it's just that it's two different, there's two complete different paths. Because I'm more like you, right? I'm an immigrant as well, and I did come from a good family. I didn't come from the slums, I came from a middle class type family. But when I see a story like that, that's something to your story should be out there.
Which is what Corey says.
Everybody that hears it tells it.
Your story needs to be out there because you have the possibility of impacting so many people that are relatable to you, that to make their lives better in the future, because many of them go back and they stay in until they die. And
drug addicts are the same. Prison and drug addicts are right here.
Very similar, right? So you should write a book. You should have your own podcast, talk about all that stuff, because there are people out there looking for you.
Yeah.
You're just not out there yet.
Yeah.
As much as you want it to be, right?
And well, that's kind of part of what we're working for with the whole being on the business, so that we can put the Out the Box brand or just in general putting ourselves out there, to put him out there as well. Get him on other places where I was like, same thing for me. The reason why I kind of really started, chasing him and trying to work with him is when I heard his story, sending for me, I was like, wow, like I thought I've gone through a crazy story, right? And I was like, and for Ray to be where he's at now, he must know something that I don't know. He understands something that I don't know. And I truly found it. Coming in without expectations, without being focused on the money. That's another thing I would say is a lot of people focus too much on the shiny object, and we just follow, crypto's the next big thing, or real estate is the next big thing. We just follow the shiny object sometimes. I don't think that's the right idea. It's just serving with the natural purpose. And for me, when I heard the story, I was like, if there's somebody that I would love to help grow together with, that's the type of guy.
I love it.
And hopefully that's.
And you're doing it. And you're gonna do it
together.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. We're gonna do round 2. I don't know when, but it'll be this year sometime.
All right.
Because I really want to dive into the real estate portion of it, like what it is that you guys do now. And I know you guys are in the wholesaling and creative financing and all that, but I wanna see the progression of both of you for the next episode when we come back, and next time we'll do it in Houston. That way you guys go to my studio and we'll do it there. But thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to hit share, like, and subscribe. Where do people find you guys? Do you guys have a social media page yet, or just
Instagram, Ray Spencer.
Ray Spencer.
Facebook, Ray Spencer.
Ray Spencer. What about you?
Same thing on Instagram. I go by AB the Investor, just AB period the period
Investor.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ray's gonna be at the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Event in Mastermind May 27-28.
Let's go.
Austin, Texas. Go see him on stage. I'm looking forward to see you there. Bye.